Hey, welcome back to the channel, man. Subscribe to the channel. All y'all Takeoff fans, go ahead and like this video, comment down below, man. So look, the news coming out of Houston, nobody basically is going to be saying anything about what they know about the Takeoff thing. That's why it's going to be so long, and like it's like the streets know, but it's like they're not going to come and say nothing. That's why all them people who saw, all them 40 people who ran off, not a single one of them wanted to step up. Only a couple of them girls that came out and like willingly, they wanted the reward money and all that. So they came out and they spoke. They did what they, because I guess they're not involved in the streets, but it's whatever. Like they went and said what they said to try to lead them on. Maybe they get paid out or something, right? But then at the end of the day, the real people who've seen it and they know they're not gonna catch like the people for real, like not this time at least. It might be later down the road, like they might catch them slacking, they might figure out more info. But as far as like, it's people out there who actually watched what happened and then they ran off, jumped in the whips. And, obviously they're not going to give any information up because that's just the way it is when you, somebody in the hood, and maybe a lot of people, they grow up not wanting to tattletale and all that. So that's understandable. But it's like for them to find the person, they gon' like the people who doing all the work, HPD, all them guys, they gonna have to end up getting somebody to snitch. That's why they talking to everybody. They probably up in the reward right now. And the crazy thing is, it's like, man, the streets are talking. Houston knows what's up. Everybody knows like who checked in that day, who didn't check in. But it's a bad look because them folks went and checked in and it was still a bad move. And they should have never had that dude around Quavo and Takeoff. They knew that something was going to happen anyways. I think that some people knew what was going to happen. And, some people think as well, a lot of people is saying that basically that, if they didn't pay up or if they didn't want to cut more bread for that security check, then that dude was going to pop up on them anyways. And, other people are also saying that they already had that beef on Twitter. They already had it. So it's like, what would make Quavo go down to Houston and check in with them when he already had beef with a dude online and everything like that? So it don't make sense because unless they squash that beef, Quavo wouldn't have went down there because that's just him going to his ops hood. And so that's one thing that most rappers aren't doing these days is they're not going into other people's hoods unless they're in a full-fledged beef with them and that they're willing to do something crazy, right? So for Quavo and Takeoff to go down to Houston like that, that dude from MobTies or whatever, he must have convinced them that they done squashed their beef, or Jazz Prince must have talked to him since it was his birthday and told him, hey, no funny business. These dudes are just here to celebrate the birthday. They got history with Jazz Prince. Apparently they got some type of connections from a few years past. Maybe they dipping and dabbling into their bag. Maybe they taking a little bit of a bag from Migos. Because if you really think about it and look at it, a lot of people were talking about how, okay, look at all these different type of artists, different type of connections through MobTies. And it's like, don't think that they not getting some bread off of that. They signed Drake. They getting bread off that for sure. So what makes you think that when they was hanging with Migos, when they were coming up on the early rise before before like the big breakup and all that, like who knows, right? They could have already tried to help him in a certain way where they was getting bread on the back end out of their bag. And that's probably why they had to go and show their respect to Houston. It's some reason. It's like you wouldn't just go and hang out with them, especially knowing that Quavo had beef with a dude already. So it must have been something major, some type of bread move, some type of paying respect to homage, right? And it was the dude's birthday. So it all ended up being like a good reason to convince them to come down to Houston. And it's like Takeoff just kind of got walked into this out of nowhere, man, because he ain't had no beef with that dude that Quavo had beef with. He didn't do no arguing. And you could ask everybody that was up in that joint. They all would say that Quavo was the most calm, collected, coolest person in the whole room. He wasn't causing no trouble. He wasn't stirring up any kind of arguments or beefs. So it's like for him to be the one that gets caught up in this whole situation is just crazy, man. It just goes to show that anything can happen to anybody, and you just because you with Quavo or the manager or whatever, you still can't trust nobody, because at the end of the day, they were outnumbered right there in Houston. They were outnumbered. They didn't move with their team. They showed up to this party. They got millions and millions of dollars, man. They could have did a quick little walk through, boom, boom, took some pictures and got out of there before. But, they lingered. They hung out way, way too long. The place was already actually closed by the time that they all stepped outside and they were hanging out in that front walkway. That building was supposed to be closed by then. So they ain't got no reason to be out there. I'm surprised security didn't try to get them removed or like kicked out the front. But you already know how it goes. When MobTies is there, the security is rendered useless, because MobTies is going to have run their own security. They're going to be telling the security to go take a break, take a 5, and that they got the orders around here that they have to follow. So basically, from all that, it's crazy that they done basically dragged Takeoff into the situation when he was trying to actually, make sure everything went smooth. He was still thinking about the fact that he can't believe Offset's not there with them and stuff, and that they might have actually did a show somewhere. If Offset would have came, like, they might have actually got booked at a more secure venue where they probably wouldn't have let all these guys in, and it would have been a flip the script where they were like, okay, only the security could come, no backstage, none of that. And so it would have been a situation where their manager might have had more control. But at the end of the day, it's a big problem to be showing up around the same exact like hood and the team of a person you already got beef with online. And it's like, I don't know why Quavo and this dude got beef online like that. Why is Quavo beefing with this dude when Quavo's a millionaire? It just don't make no sense. But a lot of people, they got the egos, they got the ulterior motives. They never want to back down. They don't want to take the higher road. They don't want to be the bigger man. And so what happens is that even though Quavo's a millionaire, he gets into an argument on Twitter, online, and then that spills into real life to where now he's arguing with a dude. Like, literally, when you comparing how much bread Quavo and the Migos got to how much bread this dude got, it's like, why are you even, this is a person that's not even in the same level. You shouldn't be paying them no attention. So because of that, because he paid the dude attention and hyped up their argument, now when they show up to Houston and they go to that birthday bash, the dude wants to do something and start our argument talking about what was all that you were saying online. Now I'm here in person. Come see me about it. And so that's where everything took a turn, because at that point, Quavo should have realized what he got himself into when he showed up to Houston, showed up to MobTies, checked in with them, and the whole time they had the dude that had issues in his, basically what is considered his op. They had his op hiding in the background until the last second when he pops up out of nowhere before Quavo getting ready to leave, and that's when he sparks that argument, because they knew that he was going to try to do something before they all left and got back into the whips. Because once if Quavo and Takeoff was to leave and get back, they was going to get into the first flight back in Atlanta. And so the fact that that dude came out of nowhere with that brown bag and everything, looked like he got handed money and all that, then that's how it all happened. He knew that it was only one chance left. He had to prove something, I guess, to somebody. And it's like the only people around there was just that certain group. So at the end of the day, man, it's really not a good idea to be moving like that, where you can't be showing up and hanging around the crew of somebody that's a op, basically. So that's a problem. And then the fact that Takeoff got caught up in all of this is even more sad. It makes the situation worse, because it's like, at the end of the day, it's not a perfect world out here. Not the good guys don't always win. Sometimes the bad guys win. So the fact that Takeoff was the one to go, it's like, man, it's like all the bad guys got to get out of this situation untouched. And the only thing left is like Takeoff, and we all got to deal with this. His family got to deal with this. And like, condolences to everybody, man. And, shout out to everyone in Atlanta and a lot of people in Houston who we still trying to wrap our heads around this. So, like, with that being said, man, send the condolences out there to Takeoff, and subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment down below. I'm gonna catch you on the next one.